Will you be speaking about Platner being an? Yes, of course I'll be speaking about that as well. I mean, quite literally, it doesn't get any worse. It is a straight up tattoo. Like, no questions about it. How the fuck do you not cover that up, man? What are you, nuts? Like, that is the most insane thing. A big part of the reason why I was like on board with him being a genuine person who has like changed and reflected on his like service and stuff like that is one, because I'm not one of those people that insta locks bad behavior or cynicism. But most significantly, it was because like he's a Majority Report fan. He's a fucking Michael Brooks fan. So when you see stuff like that, my expectation is that, you know, this guy, it just doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of stuff that he is throwing around that makes no fucking sense, especially considering that, especially considering his background, right? Like nobody comes out and is like, hey, I'm going to be a Medicare for all championing Israel is doing a genocide saying candidate. Because if that was the case, like if people, like when people go, oh, this is like an op, this is a psyop to divide the left. I'm like, brother, have you seen the left? Have you seen the left? We do not need any psyops to divide us. We hate the left. Okay. Everybody hates each other. There's no psyop necessary. People have already decided to psyop themselves for free 99. So for me, I like to weigh out all of the different alternatives here. And for me, up until this incident, okay, up until this, which is major, because I think like I'm trying to understand like what is going on. I'm trying to understand what is going on in the mindset of a person that like that goes through this like lived experience. Like how the fuck you arrive at like the positions you arrive at. But it's pretty crazy. And I think I need to hear his defense of it, but I assume that this is indefensible. Like, what are we doing? This is like how do you not cover that, my man? How the fuck do you not cover that? It just doesn't make sense with any of the other shit he has presented himself as in his private moments, in his public moments. A guy like this could, if he wanted to, he could just as easily be like, I'm right wing. I'm a fucking combat veteran. I'm hoorah, baby. I'm right wing. You know, he could run in Maine as a right wing guy and probably get a lot of clout. You know what I mean? It was just, I didn't know what it was. I mean, okay, guys, not knowing what the tattoo is when you're initially getting it in Croatia, because some people were saying he was drunk in Croatia, he got the tattoo. That's one thing. Keeping it on your chest without a single person being like, hey, dog, you got a Nazi tattoo on your titty. What the f*** is that about? For like 15 years is crazy. Okay? That, like, you don't have a single friend. You didn't have nobody out there who was like, what the f*** on your chest, my boy? What the hell? That's crazy. Come on now. Come on, dude. Like, yeah, sure, you didn't know what a totem cough is. Okay, sure, fine. Okay, I guess you don't know. That's one thing. But nobody was like, brother, you need to take care of that ASAP Rocky. Like, this is literally a jailable offense in many European countries. Like what he has as a tattoo, I need you to understand. He don't got friends. He on Reddit. To be fair, all of this is stemming from him being a Redditor. I'm gonna be honest. Platner's political director who resigned weighed in on the tattoo. Platner's political director who resigned over his Reddit post weighs in on the tattoo. Okay, but I don't place a lot of emphasis on this person's attitude because like the Reddit posts are nothing in comparison to like even the black people don't tip thing was literally like one of those like Reddit posts that I thought he was being racist on, but he was just straight up asking on one of those like, what would you be able to ask if you felt like there was no like it was one of, I forget what Reddit it was, but it was not even like as bad as I initially thought it was. Anyway, let's just get fucking started. How do you fucking know every single dumbass wink and nod for Nazi is a skull and crossbones on a jar head? What the fuck problem? Dude, come on. Okay? Come on. it's not like he had the tattoo for like a week. Okay. He had the tattoo since 2007. Are you kidding me? Young Thug defends James Harden for wearing a pro police face mask. He don't have internet. Yeah. Bernie's about to come out and be like, I don't know what happened. A swastika is less meaning than this one, chat? No, that's not true. Everybody knows what a fucking swastika is. Come on. No. The swastika is the most recognizable. That's why I said the swastika is the most recognizable. The dual thunderbolts is the second most recognizable. And then, like, I would say the totem-cough is the third most recognizable tattoo for neo-Nazis. Okay? But I just, like I said, how the you have that on your chest, brother? No, the black sun is not even as recognizable, brother. What are you talking about? This is the totem-cough. No, that is like one of the, you don't have to be a nerd, dude. You don't have to be a nerd to know. I'm saying in the most insane circumstance where this guy simultaneously is the most woke and open-minded guy, but also is the dumbest person on the planet, where he was like, oh, what is this, a pirate thing? How the did nobody tell him? I mean, come on, man. Are we serious? Are we actually being for real right now? This is crazy. Like, if you want to vote for Graham Platner in spite of all this, fine. Like, you make that assessment on your own. But like, but come on. That's a crazy fucking take, dude. Ugh. Bernie Sanders just told us he's still standing behind Graham Platner as his campaign is dogged by controversy in the Senate race. I personally think he's an excellent candidate. I'm going to support him and look forward to him becoming the next senator in the state of Maine, he said. It is pretty wild for Bernie to do that. I'm going to be honest. How are you this? I don't understand how he is this person. I don't understand it. On the one hand, he literally has slammed himself into the liberal Zionist position. On the other hand, he will prop up a swagged up, quirked up white boy with a Nazi tattoo who says Israel's committing a genocide and will be firmly committed to him. None of this makes sense to me. I mean, respect. But it's just like, like Bernie, as I've told you guys before, as I've told you guys time and time again, Bernie's the type of dude who will just be like, I don't care about anything. As long as this guy is like pro Medicare for all, I'm on board, right? He's that type of dude. He's very stubborn. And as I told you time and time again, it is very interesting to see like how much Bernie will commit to people who are openly anti-Zionist, for example, that are like Bernie will defend open anti-Zionists all the way to the end, even if he himself is not one. It just doesn't make any sense. It's very interesting. It's very confusing. Anyway, weren't you asking for this yesterday in response to leaked text? But this time there's actually actual shit on the Dem side. Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I kind of like that there are people who are still firmly committed to this guy. On the other hand, my own personal assessment is like been all over the place. Okay, my own personal assessment has been all over the place. I will admit. And if you're wondering why, like, if you're wondering why Majority Report is defending him and why all these other people are defending him who have talked to him, it's because people think he's legit. Like, people think he is legit, a guy who just went through these experiences and is and isn't who a lot of people present him as. Like, he's not like a jarhead op federal agent. That he is just like, this is who he is. He is just I can't get over it, man. This is so dumb. I cannot get over it. That is crazy. How like, his format is so perfect. Okay, guy who served, guy who was a jarhead, and then like obviously experiences like discontent, realizes he's like disillusioned by it all. If he hadn't gone the Blackwater route, I would not have any issues whatsoever defending him, right? Like, if he did 4 tours and he came out of that being like, dude, what the was I doing? I had no other options, but this shit sucks, and became like an open anti-war veteran type of guy. Perfect guy for the left, okay? Perfect. But then he has black water on the stain as a major stain on his reputation. And then the Reddit stuff I didn't give a shit about. I don't care about that even remotely. A lot of people tried to like make that a big deal. I don't care. Suck my dick. Yeah, he said he said anti-woke, like somewhat anti-woke as a jarhead in 2012, as opposed to like how woke he became in 2020. And I don't give a shit about that at all. Right? But 15 years of a Nazi tattoo. What are we doing, man? What the are we doing, man? How do you just have that on your chest for 15 goddamn years and you don't know what the that is? Like, it does. What? What is that? What is that? Now, it sucks because like all of my ops are his ops as well. And it's like, it's this weird predicament where like, this is indefensible shit. But also at the same time, I can't help but feel as though, Josh Kraushaar of Jewish Insider is obviously doing this not because, like he thinks Graham Platner is a Fed. Don't be stupid now. This is Matthew Castle and Josh Kraushaar are my ops at Jewish Insider. They are Zoran's major ops as well. They're my major ops as well. They constantly write articles about my ass too. It's because he's anti-Israel that they're like really farming this shit. Because if you had a situation where a Republican was outed for something like this, they would never even cover it. They would be like, oh, who cares? Right? If he was a Fed and if people actually saw him as like no threat whatsoever, but like a psyop or some shit like that, then they wouldn't be doing this. I'm really scared for him to win and Fetty out because of the purity testing for future candidates will be insurmountable. He knows, man, if you have a tattoo, you know the symbolism. That's the whole point of tattoos. If you didn't know when he first got it, he would have looked it up after. No, I know. There's 0% chance that this dude for 15 years never encountered another human being that went, hey, oddly specific Nazi tattoo you have on your chest there. What is more shocking to me, about all of this is that he doesn't have a single blemish on his private internet correspondence that even remotely leans into Nazi shit. Like, not even a little bit. How is that possible? Like, this was on Reddit, chat. In 2020, if you have in 2020, he was 13 years in to having a totem cough tattoo on his titty. Okay? How the did he not even a little bit say stuff like Black Lives Matter is really up, don't you think? Like, not even like a All Lives Matter post. Nothing. How is that possible? Is this the American median voter? Is this where we're at? Because like Tyson Brody also points to this. One thing we do have on Platner is roughly 15 years of pretty unrestrained posting without any sign of actual flirtation with right-wing politics. Maybe more comes out, but as of now, inclined to believe drunk Grunt got cool skull tattoo, kind of like Harden with a Punisher mask. I mean, there's not even one anti-immigrant post I've seen floated around. Pretty revealing on that alone, given the past decade and a half. Like, that is insane to me. That is insane to me. I don't understand how people, like, for me, I like to think I kind of understand the normie mindset, right? I kind of understand the normie mindset a little bit. How the do you get like this seems like a meme. Oh, dude, what the swastika tattoo? I thought it was like cool. I thought that shit went hard, bro. Like, that's why I got it. I didn't realize this was bad. Like, how the PSA video will lock you into your initial reaction. Like, I don't get it. I don't get how you just do that. I don't get how you do that. It is mind-boggling to me. In some ways, I like that. In a weird way, I like the Democrats are like experiencing some kind of like discipline on this, where they're like, we don't give a fuck. Like, on a purely amoral political grounds, on a purely amoral, like, we're playing politics, who gives a style attitude. It's not bad, but I don't mean we don't give a f. That's bad. No, Nazis in office is not good. He hit his power level, or he's just that stupid. Brother, no one No one hides their power level like that, because getting a tattoo like that is the opposite of hiding your power level. A guy that has this tattoo, that has this background, should have at some point been like, yeah, I think them migrants are bad. Yeah, all lives matter. This is like, Trump supporters are racist. We need an armed revolution. What the There is no way a dude that was getting a totem cough tattoo is gonna be that quiet about their perspective. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. Okay. It makes no sense, because I look at situations like this and I weigh all the options. On the super left, you have the people who are like, this is a Fed, this is a John Fetterman situation, this is a psyop, right? This guy is obviously a mercenary. He was designed in a lab to make leftist brains break completely, and he's there to like divide the left, right? And I don't put a lot of emphasis on this stuff because personally, I think that's kind of dumb, because like the left has no motion, right? Like we can't even do entryism into the Democratic Party at a time when the Democrats are just like unimaginably weak, right? So I like to personally weigh. I like to personally lean into what I think is the most likely reality here. Like, what is the most likely outcome? Okay, but I have never in my life seen someone who has thrown so many different haymakers. Like, he is impossible to decipher, straight up. And I know that sounds like a cop-out for a lot of people who have already made up their minds, because, like, obviously, dude, he's Blackwater mercenary, literally has a Nazi tattoo. And you've already been like, oh, yeah, the left is experiencing, like, COINTELPRO again or some shit, right? Because you think that there is that much motion. But I truly don't understand when I, like, weigh all of his output, his own personal, like, ideological journey, and where he is, like, what he is launched his campaign as. It doesn't make any sense, you know? It doesn't make sense. It's just so. Platner is the ultimate centrist. For every woke position, he must engage in an equally right-wing action, a full metal centrist. Yeah, he is the most insane. Like, either he is literally a federal agent that was built in a laboratory to specifically, like, infiltrate the left or some shit, or he is perhaps one of the dumbest people I have ever encountered that has engaged in the realm of politics. Like unquestionably, like, it makes no sense. Like, guy who's like, yeah, I love psychedelics, and I became like woke because I self-medicated with psychedelics, but also I have a Nazi tattoo. It is crazy. I don't know. Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Platner says, I am not a secret Nazi after photos of his tattoos emerge. Yeah, because I think that's not a secret. That's like, you get that tattoo when you're an open Nazi. Maybe he wanted to pull some Republicans in. No, guys, this is not John Fetterman. Shut the up. This is something even dumber than that. God damn it. Guy who has only been alive for like one election cycle goes, everything is John Fetterman. Is this John Fetterman? No, not everyone is John Fetterman. Stop pointing to John Fetterman, okay? Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Shut the up. Oh, okay. Let's you know what? Let's start with the Graham Platner shit, because what a crazy story. Okay. I don't even know what the to say. Okay. He did a piss poor, like, he was cheering on the demise of Golden Dawn, giving kudos to people fighting for YPG, blasting the U.S. for not bending over backwards to naturalize Afghan interpreters as a moral issue. There's not one scrap of racial animus or xenophobia in a decade and a half of posting. He did a piss poor job of hiding his posts and recycled his username on a handful of message boards for liberal gun clubs and scuba gear. There's no secret liability here. When he says he got sauced on leave in 2007 and got a tattoo, he didn't recognize anything, it's truth. Like, if you look through all of his social media posting, there is, first of all, there is 0% chance that like, there is 0% chance that the CIA was like, let's get this jarhead to post on social media like an unhinged former unhinged veteran turned like hyper woke. Okay, that's not like, no one is investing that much time into our little utterly irrelevant circle in American politics. We have no motion, we have no clout, we have no socialism. Okay, there is like, we're not even talking about the federal government's incompetence here. Okay, which also probably is something to consider in terms of like building like a Manchurian candidate. Okay, so get your head out of your ass. I don't think the CIA is capable of delivering a 15-year plan, specifically a 15-year plan that requires infiltration of leftist movements by getting a Bernie nod in a Maine senatorial run against like a purplish Republican candidate. Okay, that's not real. Wake up. Wake up. That's not real at all. But it also literally doesn't make sense if you are the type of dude who, on the one hand, who went as far as to get a totem cough on your chest, but also on the other hand, you're like talking about how, you know, immigrants are great and Republicans are racist. Schumer on if Platner's unearthed comments are disqualifying. I'll let the people of Maine decide. We think that Janet Mills is the best candidate to retire Susan Collins. She's a tested 2-term governor, and the people in Maine have an enormous amount of affection. Okay, well, when I hear stuff like this, it makes me go crazy. You know what I mean? Why people are not as consistent as on. No one gets that because you are all American. I do not understand, bro. This goes beyond the median American. This goes beyond the median American, okay? The median American voter. Yeah, if I'm Platner, Ian Higgins says, really hard to see how Platner survives this. Crazier things have happened, but the tattoo really seemed like it's on a different level than the Reddit post. Also incongruous with most of the posts we've seen. You gotta get that cover up on camera. Like, that's number one. Like, you have to get that shit covered up on camera immediately. Like, make haste. If you want to salvage this in any way, shape, or form. He's not a median American. He's a veteran. The United States military is one of the largest jobs programs in the country. So technically, an American U.S. military veteran is unironically closer to the median voter than you and I ever will be. Okay, U.S. veterans, no matter how insane they are still median voters. This was funny. The only way to beat a bad guy with a Nazi tattoo, you guessed it, good guy with a Nazi tattoo, Graham Platner for some reason. I'm with Harris. Protect trans kids. 1-6, never forgive, never forget. There's just a fat black son in the back. How is this possible? What I don't understand is why the Podjons are embracing him in the YouTube comments too. Because the Podjons understand the severity of the crisis in hand and they trust him. That's what it is. They like him. They want people who are anti-Israel, 100%. I know it sounds crazy, and I know you won't believe me, but I talk to them all the time, and they literally are also on this, like, we got to get the Democrats to move away from Israel to the best of our ability movement, okay? So they recognize Platner as a likable candidate. They recognize Platner as a likable candidate. The worst part about the tattoo gate is that as much as I have yelled at Pete Hegseth's Jerusalem cross tattoos and this is worse. That's worse. It's a totem cough. It's literally worse. At least like Pete Kegsbreath has like tattoos like Deus Vult, and it's like eccentric, like weirdo, we got to restart the Crusades style tattoos and shit. That's a straight up Nazi one. Like, it's not, there is no plausible deniability at all. It's just like straightforward, a totem cough. What the Which way Western voter? I think it's, when was the tattoo discovered? I think today, like this morning. Maybe it's just a Ukrainian freedom fighter. I feel like 99% of Americans would just think it's a skull. I don't know. Maybe I'm too invested in knowing Nazi dog whistles. I mean, this is not even a dog whistle. This is just like this is not a dog whistle. A dog whistle implies plausible deniability. This is not a dog whistle. It's basically a couple steps removed from a swastika, chat. Like, that's, am I crazy? Do I know too much about Nazi symbolism to assume this? Does the average American not know? I need to ask people. Like, I don't understand it. The Platner oppo is hitting hard solely because his enemies know exactly the type of things that freak out the terminally online people who drive discourse in the Democratic Party, but absolutely no one else. No real life person who wasn't a history major knows what that tattoo is. I mean, really? I don't know, man. I don't know if this is just like nonsensical wokeness. Like, I would say the attitude that some people have about like veterans are all baby killers, like, that's crazy, right? That's a crazy attitude that we have in this community, unfortunately, and I try to stamp it out all the goddamn time, and people yell at me all over and over again. Okay, I think it's poisonous, it's horrible, but you know, as much as I also think like you shouldn't lean into oppositional framing when it's sinister and cynical, I do think it's like what are we doing? What are we doing? It just doesn't make sense. If he had any posts that corresponded to like, if he had posts that literally were like even remotely against migrants, I'd be like, oh, he's like hiding his true ambitions here. And weirdly enough, chose to run as like a DSA-backed socialist for some reason. That doesn't make sense either. But like it doesn't. You called him a base commie. Killing Iraqis and Afghans is also bad. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that part is. This is what I mean. Like you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind if you think that like guys who have toured are irredeemable. Like it's just, you and I are never going to be in agreement on that, especially considering that I do have a sizable amount of people who are either currently serving or have served in the military in this community. And that's never been a position that I've maintained. I will never actually hold it. Blackwater is different, obviously, than like, Blackwater is different than that. And even like, when people say like, would you have an IDF person on? Like, yeah, I would. If an IDF veteran turns into an anti-Zionist and you think I'm not going to talk to that person, you're out of your mind. I literally have. I have an IDF. One of the first people I talked to was Ofer Kasif. He served and then also became a conscientious objector and is an anti-Zionist in the Israeli Knesset. Like, that does not matter to me. It doesn't matter. I cannot stress this enough. Also, none of you know how to hold a gun. Shut the up. Yeah, there is breaking the silence. Like, there are like that this discourse goes all over the place because like there are irredeemable things, okay? And there are things that are worthy of scrutiny, especially Blackwater. That is like a dramatic escalation beyond just like serving. Okay? But it blows my mind. Like, he doesn't have anything, dude. He has decades of unrestrained Reddit posting. And when you look at that on its face, it literally looks like a dude who encountered Majority Report and Socialist Rifle Association and Michael Brooks and was like, oh my God, like there is an alternative out there. You know what I mean? Like that's what it reads like to me. But then you got the Nazi tattoo and it's crazy.
Farmer and Maine Senate candidate.
I don't want to watch the whole thing, actually. I just realized it's so long. It's like 50 minutes. But let's see what he had to say about the 6-minute part of this interview on the tattoo.
First Reddit post I wanted to ask you about is from 2013. So someone wrote on Reddit, what is one question you've always wanted to ask someone of another race? You responded, why don't black people tip? I work as a bartender, and it always amazes me how solid the stereotype is. Every now and again, a black patron will leave a 15 to 20% tip, but usually it is between 0 and 5%. There's got to be a reason behind it. What is it? End of quote. How did you feel rereading that post? And what's your response to people who hear that and think that is like textbook racism and it's offensive?
I mean, one, I was legitimately asking the question. I mean, that was the point of the thread.
Yeah, the black people don't tip thing I thought was just like a straight up statement. It's in no chat. No, calm down. Listen. No. It is it's one of those things that, especially with a Nazi tattoo, no one is going to believe him regardless, but it quite literally is the absolute only, it's still racist, but it's the only, like, it is the least racist of all of the racist options. I'm not defending it at all. It's still racist. It is I know someone has the actual context, please. I know someone has the actual context. Please, someone give me the full. It's a Reddit thread where, God damn it, I need to just show it. No, I need to show the actual now deleted Reddit post. No, this is not. First of all, I don't give a shit. It was in 2013, and he has all of these other. He has all of these other posts like since then that obviously show that he is changed. But that's not even what I'm talking about here. I need you to see, dude, stop apologizing. I need you to see the actual, it was like one of those, yeah, it was like one of those subreddits that was like r/too afraid to ask or r/not stupid questions. So it literally was like the only acceptable, still racist, but the only acceptable context that it would come out in. He wasn't like randomly being like, blacks never actually tip. This is up. It's not spin. It really just was an honest question. Check the subheader. This was posted and deleted. The one reply his post got from a black girl who must be in her mid-30s now. Ask Reddit. r/ask Reddit. What is one question you have always wanted to ask someone of another race? Anything you want to ask or have clarified without wanting to sound racist. It's still racist. But it is like, do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I mean? It is still a racist thing, but it is objectively, in the grand scheme of like Reddit posting, it is perhaps the least racist option out of all of the racist options out there on Reddit. He goes, what is the one question you have always wanted to ask someone of another race? Anything you want to ask or have clarified without wanting to sound racist. He goes, why don't black people tip? I work as a bartender, and it always amazes me how solid the stereotype is. Every now and again, a black patron will leave a 15 to 20% tip, but usually it's between 0 to 5%. There's got to be a reason behind it. What is it? Cinnabar Firefly says, I'll throw poverty out there in general. But honestly, I don't know. I was raised to always slap down a 5 for good service in a setting like, I don't know, Red Lobster, where I'm probably not going to spend more than $30 on just myself, and go up from there for extra degrees of awesome. There have been times I've made this mistake of not having enough to tip as well as I'd like, though. I do feel kind of slimy about it as I leave. Sad face. So, do you see what I mean? If you hear the statement without additional context, you're like, oh wow, this guy's a real asshole. Which, again, it is a racist question, but in terms of, one, it's in 2013. I can't begin to tell you how little I give a shit about this. I care way more about the totem cough tattoo, just so you understand, because once again, as a white supremacist myself, clearly I have a lot more of a position of understanding that people are gonna have some racialized racist tendencies. We live in a white supremacist country. Okay. You can't joke like that right now. Yeah, I don't really give a shit. Come on. But in my experience as a server, the biggest perpetuator of the stereotype was a black woman I work with. Okay, you don't have to literally give us your own personal racist experiences. Okay, please stop. Jesus Christ, chatters. What would a non-racist question be in this thread? I'm curious. I don't know. I can't really think of anything right now. But again, without the totem cough tattoo, you see this sort of thing, and then you see his other posts in like 2020 when he's like, racist police, ACAB, all this shit. It comes across like a dude who was a dumbass jarhead who said perhaps one of the least racist things that any given dumbass jarhead would have said in 2013. Okay? Like, in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about 2013 on a subreddit where the guy's like, I don't really understand what's up with black people as a server. Like, that's racist for sure. but it's 2013, and he has nothing else before the Totemkopf tattoo that makes any sense whatsoever with his like posting. It just doesn't make sense. In any case, yeah, this is the wokest jarhead in America for 2013. New Bernie Sanders defense, Graham Platner calls him an excellent candidate. There's a young man who served his country in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he went through some really difficult experiences seeing his friends killed or whatever. He said, or whatever. And in spite of all that, he had the courage to run. I personally think he's an excellent candidate. I'm going to support him, and I look forward to him becoming the next senator in the state of Maine. Bernie Sanders really putting to the test my fundamental value, which is Medicare for all means for all, which means including Nazis. Okay? That is my fundamental principle. I stand on that when I say Medicare for all means for all, which yes includes Nazis as well. And Bernie is saying that is what he believes. Okay? He does not give a he meant for all, bitch. It is pretty funny that he said he served in Iraq, Afghanistan. A couple of his homies died or whatever. Or whatever is a crazy thing to slap onto. He went through some really difficult experiences, seeing his friends killed. Bro, you are not the normie whisperer you imagine yourself to be if you find this hard to not be common knowledge. Yeah, I mean, I guess as far as like as far as what I think is like, even if normies themselves are not fully aware of like the Totemkopf, he was in the military, man. Like I'm pretty sure people know, and you'll probably find out whether he actually knew it or not. Okay, good thing for all of us if there are still Mainers in here that are Graham Platner advocates who are looking at the situation and they're like, well, still better than Janet Mills. I don't give a shit. Don't worry. Leftists chirping on the internet are so utterly irrelevant in the grand scheme of things that my community not backing Graham Platner is not actually going to do anything. Having said that, though, I don't think you need to be a major history enjoyer to know that this is a Totemkopf and it's a huge Nazi symbol. And I do think that, especially coming from a military background, it kind of feels like you have extra awareness on certain things like that. It's like when the Marine Sniper Division was getting the double Thunderbolts and being like, oh, we just thought it meant Scout Sniper. It was just the SS for Scout Sniper. It's like, no, you knew what you were getting a tattoo of. Shut the up. Like, get out of here. Oh, I just like the numbers 1, 4, and also 8 a lot.
Campaign move. Your team actually shared some opposition research on you with me. It's a video from, I believe, a decade ago. Let's just watch an excerpt, and then we should talk about it.
What other tattoos does have, man? Are we going to find out that he has a swastika on his ass cheek tomorrow? What the I can't get over this, dude. I cannot. Dude, come on, brother. Come the on. A lot of tattoo shops are fully aware what the symbolism is for all these Nazi symbols. Oh, no. The tattoo shop where he got this at, because he said he got it in Croatia, those knew what they were tattooing on his body. It is very, like, what he got is literally illegal in many European states. Okay? If he showed that tattoo in Germany, he would go to jail. Do you understand? Now, of course, it might not be illegal in Croatia. Do with that information what you will. I didn't know that, but it's not shocking to me, let's just say. In Croatia, was he visiting at Ustazi Memorial? Yeah. Yeah, there was a... The guy was an Ustazi enjoyer, I think, that tattooed him. Wait, I was right. He is indeed an ACP party member. Wait, hold on. Like, especially if he got this tattoo and then got other tattoos afterwards, there is zero, and I mean 0% chance that he went to another tattoo artist after he got that totem cough in the United States of America, and the tattoo artist didn't go, hey man, I'm going to cover that shit up for you. Okay? Not to do more opposition research on Graham Platner here, but if he got another tattoo after that tattoo and he went to a tattoo artist, every single tattoo artist knows prominent neo-Nazi symbols. Every single one, whether because they like offering said tattoos or whether it is because they know what tattoos they will not actually ever tattoo on someone's body. Okay? Most tattoo artists know one way or another exactly what this is. Okay? And if he actually got another tattoo after that and the tattoo artist saw it, he would absolutely be like, hey man, I'm just going to let you know, I don't want to be weird, but you have a Nazi tattoo on your chest. Would you like me to cover that up? Brother, it's a skull and bones. Get the fuck out. No. The tattoo shops would absolutely, I don't know what that tattoo means, and I've always been very online. No, that's why I'm saying a tattoo artist would know exactly what that is. And they would say, I'll cover it up for you. There's no shot. I'm telling you right now, there is no shot. Guys, you can't get a tattoo like this at normal tattoo shops. Okay? Do you understand? You cannot get that. If you walk into the average regular ass American tattoo shop right now and you say, I want this totem cough on my chest, they would say no. Most of the Nazi tattoos that people get, they get in prison, okay? Or very specific neo-Nazi tattoo shops. As someone with zero tattoos, even I know this about tattoo culture. He got this in Croatia for that reason. There is 0% chance that he would be able to get that tattoo unless he went to, in America, there's 0% chance he could go to a regular ass tattoo shop and be like, oh, can I get this? Yeah, it's one of the most prominent symbols. Dude, it's up there. I told you. It's literally illegal. Like symbols that are most commonly associated with Nazism, the swastika, the SS Thunderbolts, and the SS Totenkopf. It's the third most prominent Nazi symbol. I didn't even see this on the Wikipedia page beforehand. It's just top dome. I told you this. As soon as I saw it, I was like, there's no way. I have a PhD in racism, chat. Come on. Don't question me on this shit.
First of all, what we were watching there was Graham wearing just his boxer briefs, singing.
The Marine Corps Silkies. Those are Marine Corps running shorts.
Pardon me, Silkies. First of all, great song choice. Tell us what's happening there, where you are. There's probably some listeners who are very confused. And the reason that we are showing this video is because at the very end, you can see a tattoo on your chest. And I've been told that some of your political opponents are telling reporters that that tattoo has a Nazi affiliation. And I would like to know, is that accurate? Are you a secret Nazi?
I am not a secret Nazi. Actually, if you read through my Reddit comments, I think you can pretty much figure out where I stand on Nazism,
right,
and anti-Semitism and racism in general. I would say a lifelong opponent.
This is the craziest part about this is that it's not like, that's not a lie, man. Well, I am not a secret Nazi is also a little bit of a lie, because when you get a totem cough on your chest, it's not a secret. But if you look at his Reddit comments, Reddit is a hotbed for liberals who have the most Nazi adjacent values when it comes to American imperialism, when it comes to wars, when it comes to opinions on racial dynamics. And this Reddit posts are the opposite. That's why it makes no sense. Do you understand? Like, you look through, as we did, if you comb through his like 2020 and onward Reddit posts, there is literally like all of the blemishes on his track record are because he was going too hard on the socialism communism front. Damn, the CIA is cooking with this one. Guys, I don't think the CIA designed a 20-year psyop to infiltrate the left. This is no longer the 60s and 70s. No, he's just a machine gunner. They are that stupid, I promise. I cannot understand it. I cannot comprehend it because I have never seen something so transparently signaling in one direction and then simultaneously have his like social media footprint be the exact opposite. It's like someone else was posting on that account. Like you see a guy 3 tours in fucking Iraq and Afghanistan, Marine machine gunner, goes into Blackwater in 2018, drops out 6 months in, drops out early, okay? Says, oh, this shit sucks. I don't like it, okay? And then becomes like extra woke. Hasan, I'll be vindicated? Yeah, me and Janet. Reddit changed a lot after Bernie dominated in 2016. It was swarmed with ops to craft a new neoliberal Reddit age. Yeah, dude, guys, you already know I'm Janet Mills. I'm a Janet Mills militia member. Let's keep going.
The video is from my brother's marriage to his wife, to my sister-in-law, who I was serenading. I told them that my wedding gift to them would be my embarrassment. And so I performed a lip sync version of Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball to my sister-in-law on the day of her wedding.
This might be your most out of touch moment. In which direction? Oh, geez, almost like you don't understand military indoctrination. This might be your most out of touch moment I can remember. Because there are so many different opinions flying around in this chat, and people that are saying, like, some people are saying, oh, it's totally valid that he didn't know what it was, which I think is a bit crazy. But then there's also a lot of people, I'm getting attacked by everyone on this issue. Thank God I knew if I insulted you, you'd read it. No, I want to hear the perspectives that people have. You're autistically hyper-informed, Nazi slogan and symbols. Dude, come on, dude. Guys, it's the 3rd most prominent neo-Nazi symbol. What? Am I crazy? I feel like if he had a swastika, dudes in the chat would be like, oh, dude, you're just like autistically hyperfixated on neo-Nazi symbolism. Like, do Americans not know about the Nazis? What the happening? Like the black sun or some sort of like Nordic rune still has a semblance of plausible deniability, even though I find that to be unconscionable as well. Like, as opposed to the totem cough. Like, have you guys not met? Like, have you not watched like any World War II movies? Like, I don't understand. This is the environment you created. This is what you have done for the past 2 days, not listening to people telling you who's bad news. Now you have Nazi sympathizers in the chat. Okay, chatter. Yes, that's what's going on.
To my brother. And now, of course, that embarrassment, which was mostly just held internally in the family, as we always watched that video at family events and laughed, is now shared with the world. So I feel like I'm just going to give them a wedding gift for the rest of my life, which is great. I love them deeply. The reason, by the way, the reason of this video, Saturday was their 10th wedding anniversary.
Oh, congrats.
And my sister-in-law was showing everybody the video. And
oh my God. So people around him literally didn't even realize that he had a not like his sister-in-law posted the video. Are you kidding me? What are white people on, bro? What level are white people on? Do people in Maine just don't understand? Does the family have CTE as well? How is this possible? Like, they were like, haha, look at how embarrassing this is. Meanwhile, people looked at the video and were like, dog, that is a prominent neo-Nazi tattoo on the chest of a dude running for Senate. As a woke guy, by the way, as a leftist, Mainers mind their own business regardless of how racist some are. What the You're just Nazi obsessed for real, for real? No. Am I crazy? Do people only know about like do people only know about the swastika? Do they think that like everything else is just like not? Growing up, I knew about the swastika. I barely knew the double lightning bolts. I didn't know about the skull. You don't get taught that much in school. What the is going on in America? What is happening? How the Okay, we need to run a poll. We need to run a poll. Did you know the totem cough before this incident? Like we need to run a poll. Let's do it. Let's do a poll in this chat. This is a autistically hyperfixated anti-fascist chat, so obviously it's probably one of the it's probably one of the worst places to run this poll on. Okay. Did you know the skull tat was fash? Yes. No. Okay, we're gonna run it for 3 minutes. We're starting the poll right now. Okay, get in there. Get in there and let your opinion be known. I need to poll this. Whether we knew about it or does not matter. We didn't put it on our chest for 2 decades and still have it. No, I know. This is not about that, man. This is not. Just calm down, okay? I'm German and I wasn't taught about this in school either. What? Dog, that is literally illegal in your country. Okay? What the That is straight up an illegal thing in your country. Like if Graham Platner was walking around Germany with that straight up on his chest, he would go to jail. He would be deported. It is on every Nazi uniform in all of the movies. What the The specific skull tat, not all skull and bones are necessarily Nazi, but that skull, yes. Like that version. Because, like, yeah, you can be like, I love piracy, okay? But that's not a pirate tattoo, my man. That is a straight up Nazi skull. Like, you know, cancel culture, whatever. I'm not even talking about that shit. I've moved past that. Your inability to put yourself in other people's shoes and go on to mock their intelligence says way more about you than average people. Dude, I'm not. Oh my God. You're misunderstanding my point. I'm not saying, like, this isn't even about Graham Platner. I'm just testing to see if I am out of touch as far as, like, my level of knowledge on neo-Nazi and Nazi tattoos. Is it normal for people to not know? And it does feel like a lot of people, I mean, it's 60-40. Chat is so cringe and lived up today. It's weird. Do you think it would have been more recognizable with the shield? No. Straight up. The skull itself is absolutely a prominent, third most prominent neo-Nazi figure. Yeah, it's literally the joke in the Are We the Baddies sketch, man.
Let's see. We should be able to hold them at this point here, at least for a few hours.
Like, that is the joke. The Are We the Baddies joke comes from the totem cough. Okay? Like, if he got the skull with the knife in the mouth, like, even that is like a lesser known fascist symbol, right? If he got the fascies on his chest, that is a lesser known fascist symbol. The totem cough is, I thought, not a less known fascist symbol, but it seems a lot of Americans didn't know what it was. They taught you this in Turkey or what? No, man. Yeah, also, obviously, my big ops at Jewish Insider are going hard after Platner. Scoop, Jewish Insider via Matthew Cassell. Graham Platner says, I'm not a secret Nazi after photos of his tattoo emerge. A former acquaintance of the D-Senate candidate said he called the tattoo my totem cough, referring to a symbol adopted by the Nazi SS unit. Now, of course, these guys, they're not going to be the most credible when it comes to this kind of stuff, but, you know, this is... opposition research is opposition research. According to a person who socialized with Platner when he was living in Washington, D.C. more than a decade ago, Platner had specifically acknowledged that the tattoo was a totem cough, the death's head symbol adopted by infamous Nazi SS unit that guarded concentration camps in World War II. He said, oh, this is my totem cough, the former acquaintance told Jewish Insider recently, speaking on the condition of anonymity to address a sensitive issue. He said it in a cutesy little way. The exchange occurred in 2012 at Tune In, popular dive on Capitol Hill where Platner worked as a bartender and was a frequent patron while he attended the George Washington University on the GI Bill, according to the former acquaintance. He would often take his shirt off, drinking with friends late at night on the bar, and on at least one occasion had stated he knew what the tattoo represented, the former acquaintance recalled. Platner gave varying accounts of the image during this time, saying at one point he was aware it was a totem cough when he had first gotten the tattoo several years prior, and at another time claiming he had not known, according to the former acquaintance. The mixed accounts indicate that Platner was at least long been aware of the symbol's connection to Nazism, even as he said in the podcast interview he was not familiar with any such association when he chose to get the tattoo. Platner, who is running to unseat Senator Susan Collins, said he had gotten the tattoo in Split, Croatia in 2007 when he had a group of very inebriated fellow Marines had time on deployment and decided to step into a parlor. Platner on Pod Save America. Now, this is the... If you're hammered in Croatia and you walk into a tattoo shop and you point to any number of different skull and bones tattoos, it's probably, you know, you're gonna get a Nazi tattoo. I'm just, you're gonna, especially in Croatia. Okay, it's most likely gonna be a Nazi tattoo. The problem is, past that point of getting the Nazi tattoo, where, you know, you probably should have covered it up. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're rolling a 90% shot that it's not going to be a pirate one, okay? All of us right now, sometimes this is just how life feels. My point is, how the do you keep that on your chest for like 20 years almost without getting it taken care of? Platner on Pod Save America. We chose a terrifying looking skull and crossbones off the wall because we were Marines and the skulls and crossbones are a pretty standard military thing. We got those tattoos and then we all moved on with our lives. I can honestly say that if I was trying to hide it, I've not been doing a very good job for the past 18 years. Oppo layup. Drunk Marine went into a Croatian tattoo shop and picked the scary skull as a believable story in absence of any other evidence. He holds these views, but them Canada has a Nazi tattoo is a pretty easy to message against them and objectively true. Exactly. Just seems like the sort of thing you can't get really get past unless Janet Mills also has some shocking, unexpected tattoos we don't yet know about. Americans, by and large, don't like Nazis. Even Americans who have identical opinions to Nazis don't like Nazis. I can't stress this enough. Okay? This is precisely the reason why Nazis will, quote unquote, hide their power level, right? And oftentimes, they can't stop themselves from hiding their power levels unless seemingly you're Graham Platner, who seemingly has, under the guise of anonymity, said the exact opposite things that a Nazi would say, while simultaneously having, you know, this tattoo on his chest for 25 years almost. What the if anyone on the right had that tattoo and claimed he didn't know at the time, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Be for real? Yes. Of course, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because if you're on the right, you already are embodying the values that are very closely associated with neo-Nazi politics anyway. Yes, context is important here. I knew it was a Nazi symbol, but if I saw it in the wild, I would have probably just seen a skull and crossbones, to be real. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where it's like, people just kind of assume there's no way that this dude is just like running around with a Nazi tattoo on his chest, right? Because it's so extreme. It is so extreme that you're just like, yeah, there's no shot. Because like, look, I've done a lot of coverage on Pete Hegseth, right? It's not a if, it's a when situation as far as like neo-Nazi adjacent tattoos. Pete Hegseth does not have a totem cough on himself. He has the Jerusalem cross. He has the Deus Vult tattoo. He even got Kafir tattooed on his arm. These are all tattoos that are multiple layers removed from a direct indication of neo-Nazi sentiment. We know all of that stuff because we're autistically hyperfixated on neo-Nazi dog whistles. Okay? Pete Hegseth also embodies those qualities in both his commentary and the way he carries himself. The reason why this is a unique predicament where people are like, what the f is going on here, is because he has not said those sorts of things. And a person who has that sort of tattoo would have at some point revealed their actual ambition. And a person like that would not be running as not even a liberal candidate, but as a left flank candidate in the Democratic primaries. I just don't get it, man. I used to work in a Trauma 1 operating room, and the amount of Nazi tattoos I saw was appalling. I also noticed nearly 100% of swastika tattoo owners have a peen tattoo. Peen? I feel like it's one of those things that's so like a penis tattoo. What did the poll end up at? 60% of chat said they didn't know, and 40% of chat said they knew, which is kind of surprising. I thought it would be higher. Like, I thought the people would, a higher percentage of people would say they know what it is. How can a CIA psyop for 20 years make the most sense right now? I mean, that will never make sense. That will never make sense. Okay? For that to happen, you would have to assume that the CIA is, one, incredibly competent. They can initiate like 20-year psyops, and two, they would even feel the need to initiate a psyop of this sort. They do not. The American left is in tatters. We have nothing. Okay? We have nothing. We have no motion. We are barely able to run candidates to forcibly take over the Democratic Party and move them in a more radical direction without having those candidates come out with that totem cuffs on their chest. What the What are we doing? What are we doing? What the hell is going on? Yeah, he needs to get a Calvin peeing tattoo, but he's peeing on the totem cuff, so it's fine. That's what he needs to do. Yeah, if the number of those who are knowledgeable is at 40% in this chat, then I suspect it's much lower by average American standards. But even then, how the do you not get it taken off for 20 goddamn years? Okay, that is crazy. Anyway, let's finish this.
Yeah, there it is. There's me being embarrassed. But what we also, yes, so in 2007, I was a machine gun section leader with Kilo Company, 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines. We were on the 2-2 Mu, and it was my third deployment. My previous two had been to Fallujah and then Ramadi, 2006. And we went ashore in Split, Croatia, myself and a few of the other machine gun squad leaders. And we got very inebriated. And we did what Marines on liberty do, and we decided to go get a tattoo. And we went to a tattoo parlor in Split, Croatia, and we chose a terrifying looking skull and crossbones off the wall because we were Marines, and skulls and crossbones are a pretty standard military thing. And we got those tattoos. And then we all moved on with our lives. And I actually joined the Army after that, where I got I had to go to MEPS. I got screened. Later on, I got a security clearance and a full screen.
Yeah, that's an indictment on the military, man. This tracks, but these online chatters think this is something new. No, I mean, the military screened him and literally were like, oh, it's just another one of those guys. Like, that's crazy. God damn it. The American military is so insane. No wonder they have like Atomwaffen all up and down the military's dick. Okay. Holy shit, dude. They were like, oh, welcome. You're among fellow travelers, sir. Classic. Oh, you got the totem cough. I personally chose the SS variety, but very cool. God damn. I don't know. I feel like we're making a big deal about this, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, this is, I think under normal circumstances, this would be somewhat of a big deal. Come on. You got a Democrat. You have a Democrat running for a Senate seat with a literal Nazi tattoo on his chest. Like, what the But I guess like American politics is so busted and so out of whack that it just kind of doesn't matter. I don't know. If you're looking at his chances, at best, this doesn't like entirely tank him. Entirely tank him because like most Americans, I guess, didn't know. And he could just like get away with like, I didn't know. Right. But like from my perspective, this calls into this ties everything else up in a very weird way. It's just, if they had a totem cough on the wall, that Croatian shop 100% had a swastika too. Oh, absolutely. 100%. 100%. So we got to choose between a potential Nazi or a corpse. Love that for Maine. I mean, potential former Nazi. I don't know anymore, man. What the is happening? Oh, my Lord. Yeah, he's got to come out and be like, this is completely unacceptable and it covered that shit.
Worked for the State Department as a contractor doing security for the ambassador to Afghanistan in 2018. And I've also just lived my entire life like a regular person with a skull and crossbones on their chest, which by that I mean taking my shirt off, performing Miley Cyrus songs in front of my extended family, and to my sister-in-law, and just taking my shirt off at the beach.
The American House of Representatives has fascies on the wall, in case y'all didn't know. Yeah, that's because our founding fathers were Omega Rome weebs. That's the reason. Come on, this is basic knowledge. Like, that's not the same. It's the same reason why Mussolini and like Hitler, who were also Rome weebs, Rome aboos, were hyper focused on the fascies. But it's the same exact reason why our founding fathers also used that symbolism. I thought everybody knew that, at least. For those of you who don't know, this is fascies, the symbol for fascism. Okay? And I would say that most political figures throughout history have at some point been unimaginably invested in ancient Rome. Yeah, the founding fathers adopted that symbolism before fascism existed as a political movement. So what the f are you guys talking about? Like, wow, I can't believe these guys saw ahead of time, like hundreds of years after they had passed, that some Italian freak would decide to also utilize the same symbolism. Like, that's not... They were pre-fash. Anyway, YouTube comments seemingly are on board with him, regardless. I can't imagine listening to this guy speak and hearing him articulate his evolution, then thinking, nah, let's go with a 79-year-old woman who would only serve one term, assuming she isn't annihilated by Susan Collins. Oh, Lord, if someone went through my shit post-history, I'd die. If we excommunicate people forever, if they ever say something bad, no one will ever have the motivation to get better. The voters need to attract the creative working-class majority. All had or still have unideal views on many things. The video might be the most infantry thing he's ever done. I'm 75 years old, and I think about blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, are we really going to worry about this? His or any other Democrats' comments when we have a president, vice president, cabinet spouting the worst stuff you could ever hear on a daily basis. It's one of those situations. These comments are what Hasan sounds like, Lamau. It's one of those situations where I think it's like relatively healthy for liberals to have this kind of attitude, in the direction of someone who is at the very least like saying that they're, at the very least, someone who is saying that they're like pro Medicare for all and rather than someone like Janet Mills, right? Because in the past, liberals used to take this attitude towards people like Janet Mills. And now they're taking this attitude towards people who are significantly to the left of people like Janet Mills. If you are not accepting of imperfect allies, you get perfect enemies. Let's let people learn from their mistakes. I appreciate him saying, I just didn't know what I was talking about. And having worked in food service for years, I'm so glad you had Graham on the show. Great guy and leader. I'm not a Mainer, but if I were, I'd be Platner, door knocker. Don't let them tear you down. I'm very pro-Graham, but apparently the skull tattoo is legit SS imagery. He should do something about that. When I was in Slovenia this summer, I went to Ljubljana's weekly open-air antiques market, and this guy sold both of these at the same booth. Yeah, this is extreme ideological diversity that you can only find in the Balkans. Extreme Balkan moment right here is true. Ljubljana, sorry. This is peak Balkan centrism, okay?
Right, presumably going to the beach, yeah.
I mean, I went to college. I went to the gym. I did all the things. And at no point in this entire experience of my life did anybody ever once say, hey, you're a Nazi. It never came up. Until we got wind that in the opposition research, somebody was shopping the idea that I was a secret Nazi with a hidden Nazi tattoo. And I can honestly say that if I was trying to hide it, I've not been doing a very good job for the past 18 years.
Yeah.
So
you're a self-described communist, but also a Nazi.
I will say the fact that I've managed to go from communist to Nazi in the space of 4 days, according to the people who are trying to do this to me, I find to be quite a spectacular turn of events. But
like, if he had anything in his comments, that was even remotely close to being like, man, we got to do something about these immigrants or whatever, I'd be like, okay, this makes sense. Like, how can these two extremes be captured on the same person? Like, on the one hand, if you just section out the Nazi tattoo, not even a neo-Nazi tattoo, and you don't think about the Nazi tattoo, and you just look at his Reddit posts, you see a guy who was woke by 2013 standards, even as a jarhead, okay, who then became omega woke by 2020. Can't stress this enough that if you believe he's a secret fascist, you have not read anything he's written over the past 15 years, which should all tell you how cynical this is. Yeah, like, Why Do the Post has been actively going through and combing through all of his subreddit posts, right? And if you look at it, if you look at his profile, and if you're confused as to why, like, Majority Report is defending him, for example, even after this, the reason for why a lot of people who have met him, a lot of people who have talked to him, or a lot of people who have, like, read through his most, like, private moments that were never intended to be publicized, you see a guy who is a Marine machine gunner go through the process of being like, yeah, a lot of this stuff that I did was really up. Okay, dude, you are defending him. I'm not. I'm explaining to you why other people are. Okay, I'm explaining to you why other people are. I haven't been able to even correspond with him personally. Why should I believe anything he's written on Reddit if he isn't willing to show growth and change by covering up his Nazi tattoo? This is a thing he's saying versus things he's done situation. Oh, no, for sure. I think it is without question. It is without question. If he doesn't get that covered up in the next week or so, it's a non-starter. Like, what are you doing? Now that you know it's a Nazi tattoo, the first thing you should be doing is making a big show of getting it covered up instantly. Okay. And even then, plenty of people will go, I don't believe it. I still don't believe it. But obviously, the appropriate thing should have been to get it covered up decades ago. The best thing would have been to not get the tattoo, obviously. He'll have that shit covered up in a video in the next 30 days. Let's be real. It won't change anything, to be honest. I don't believe, nor 98% of the American populace knows what that shit means. If he was on Reddit in 2012, he probably was on 4chan too. It was extremely small back then, but there were people on Poll that were lefties. They were mostly on the filming boards, though. No. He's not. You're fantasizing about things that don't matter. But my liberal parents don't believe it's a Nazi symbol. They'll just think it's a skull and crossbones, lol. I think it's wild that so many people just don't know. There's literally the quote of him saying, yes, this is my totem cough. I don't give a what people defending him think he meant by it. Yeah, no, first of all, that's from Jewish Insider. Okay? Those are the same people that have been talking about how Zohran Mamdani is a radical Islamist fundamentalist who is trying to do another 9/11 for the past week. So just look at your sources a little bit, okay? And remember, totem cough tattoo or not, this is a guy who came on the scene, and one of his first moves was to say Israel's doing a genocide and it must stop, and we must stop giving Israel weapons. So they have a very different approach to the situation. So that's, kind of seems like he was caught in a lie about not knowing what the skull was instead of admitting he was a racist in 2007. I bet he was just too confident that the lie would work instead of getting it covered up. Yeah, if he was pro-Israel, if he was a pro-Israel Democrat, they'd be like, oh, he's a veteran. Calm down. He's a veteran, dude. Dan Caldwell says, don't care for Platner, but it was fairly common during the height of the GWOT for boot Marines to get stupid tattoos like this because they look cool. I know several Hispanic Marines who got the Nazi SS lightning bolts tattooed on their arms because they were in Scout Snipers. I don't think Platner is a Nazi, but one, the ads about a Dem having a Nazi tattoo play for themselves. B, working for Blackwater and having a totem cloth are at minimum suspicious. C, it shows poverty and judgment and knowledge that I don't want in a senator. Z Jelani says Republicans are going to run ads claiming he's both a communist and a Nazi. And rural manners are going to be like, sounds legit. I think you haven't thought this through. First of all, they absolutely will do that. What the That's unironically what Trump said about Kamala Harris. Trump literally said Kamala Harris is a communist, Marxist, fascist over and over again. So yeah, They were going to do that regardless. And now they actually have proof. Maybe he's an anti-Semitic, anti-Israel guy. No, I don't think I don't even think that. Calling people Nazis lost political power during the awakening, and it basically has no power against Democrats, a little against Republicans because of public stereotypes. You also endorse Janet Mills, notably. So why the fuck Chatter's so mad about you? Yeah, I don't know why Chatters are yelling at me. I'm a Janet Mills militia member. So a White House. Oh, speaking of Nazis, a White House official tells me it is highly likely Ingratia's nomination will be pulled. It was discussed on an internal White House call this morning. Genuinely curious why you would think the CIA would not try to run their own candidates as LARPers. Great question from Revolutionary Liberal. Because there is no motion. The left is not a significant formative threat. And it certainly wasn't in 2007 or even in 2016. Okay? It has never been. In the United States of America, all prominent left mobilizing was destroyed, stamped out, absolutely gutted, eviscerated. Also, the CIA runs their own candidates, like literal CIA agents, whether it be Tulsi Gabbard, who also ran on anti-imperialist slant, if you recall. And I had a very different opinion about Tulsi Gabbard back then, if you remember. Or Abigail Spanberger, or Elisa Slotkin. The CIA literally runs their own candidates openly. They actually run around talking about how awesome it is that they are CIA. What are we talking about? Like, this is the one aspect that I truly do not agree with. Like, the notion that this is a CIA operation or something. And the reason why I don't agree with this being a CIA operation potentially is because, one, I don't think the CIA is competent enough any longer to establish, or the FBI even for that matter, is competent enough to establish 15-year projects, 20-year projects. And two, I don't think they see any need to infiltrate leftist movements in general because we do enough to ourselves. We are already segmented. We don't have any motion whatsoever. And therefore, I do not think this is a CIA plot. Because in order for this to be a CIA plot, you would have to have a guy all the way back in 2013 being a Redditor that then very deliberately crafts 20 years, very deliberately crafts almost 20 years worth of anonymous posting on Reddit. It just doesn't make any sense, especially because most Americans don't even think being a leftist or being a communist is a good thing. A lot of you are running with your own personal biases here where you think that socialism on the national scale has a lot of movement and has a lot of clout. And it's like objectively a good thing. Not realizing that the reason why he initially came out and was like, I'm not a communist, I'm a small business owner, is precisely because a lot of people are terrified of that shit. Okay? Are you CIA? Yes, totally. The one and only. Thank you for the 10 gifted. He has more smoke for being called a commie than a Nazi. Yeah, while it's totally possible he did know and has been lying, if you cannot accept that 98% of the American population, including your parents' chatters, don't know that you're out of touch and clueless, all I'm saying is, I used to say it's more inclined to, I'm more inclined to assume it's stupidity rather than malicious, a malicious reason to hide, to shelter his true opinion. But god damn, dude, it's being built up in a way that is impossible to look the other way on. Like, it's just like Blackwater mercenary with a Nazi tattoo. Like, come on. At least from my perspective. Okay? At least from my perspective, which is utterly irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. This and the Blackwater thing, it's like, if up to age 34 you were either outrageously evil or overwhelmingly stupid, how are you trustworthy as a political figure? Why am I expected to portray you not just as an alternative, but as the next best thing in democratic socialism? Is pretty nutty. I mean, you and Mike almost looked the other way on the Blackwater and vet stuff. The vet stuff, I don't give a shit about. And I cannot stress this enough. I don't. 100%. Like, the Blackwater one is beyond being an active duty Marine jarhead. Yeah. for people that say, nope, it doesn't matter. This person was a veteran. He's a baby killer automatically. You're completely out of touch with and out of step with how normal people view this stuff. Folks online spending a lot of time talking about Graham Platner's tattoo today while Axios is going off on him for having an Antifa Super Soldier sticker and being a member of the Socialist Rifle Association. What a race to cover here in Maine. Yeah. Dude is not just a veteran. He did it was 4 tours. He willingly did it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why leftists in here are acting like this is a win in an argument. Now we're just going to get another pro-Israel dem and the pro-Israel lobbyists who wanted to destroy him one, replaced by a geriatric genocidal dem who will give you a demented smile. I think he is so unimaginably inexperienced and as a political operative in perhaps one of the most dangerous political positions you can have, even as an experienced political operative. Being unconditionally anti-Israel is literally the most treacherous waters that you could wade through. And to add to that, like you already have unimaginable ops when you do that. Okay, you already have dove into the deep end of the most treacherous, the most vicious political opposition research-backed waters that you possibly could have. That to me for me at least, means a lot. That means a lot to me. That has a lot of mileage from my perspective, because a lot of people rely on the idea that they have currently that like, oh, being anti-Israel is actually good. It is, but there is a reason why no politician is even broaching that, even at this moment. Okay, and that is because you get ass if you come out like that. Look at me. I'm not a political operative. I'm a political commentary person. Look at how aggressively people are up my asshole all the time. Like Zohran Mamdani is a unique figure because not only does he have the anti-Zionist like background, but he was able to just like overcome all of those odds by presenting putting a very charismatic spin on a lot of these like policies that people wanted. Maybe I should see how bad they'd lose their shit for my patch. Just wanted to say I love your shop. Defend equality sticker on the truck and Antifa Super Soldier on my armor as well. Keep up the good fight. And that thread over at r/tactical gear has me rolling. This is from r/SRA weekend, Socialist Rifle Association weekend. Graham Platner wrote in 2020 that he had an Antifa Super Soldier label on his armor and discussed being active in his local Socialist Rifle Association chapter. Platner, this was a dumb joke, like most of my old Reddit posts. On the one hand, he is trying to moderate. I think the worst aspect of all of this is that he's going to come across as insincere inevitably. Okay? Because I think you should just be honest. I think you should be honest about who you are and what you have become. Okay? Because it's very obvious that, like, on the one hand, in his private moments, in his private correspondence, like, it's very clear that this is a dude who went through transformational change in his own personal politics, right? It's clear. But he is so scared of coming across as like too heavy-handed on the socialist side and too much of a radical that he's like, oh, I'm not like that. I'm not like that at all. But then on the other side, people are saying he's a neo-Nazi. Read my chats. He changed. Can't be proven by saying, look at his own words. We know this. You have taught chat to demand more than just words. In Platner's own biography, there are 5 paragraphs about his service and 1 paragraph about his current job. And then some Reddit posts. Where's the real proof? No, I think if you're looking at his own, like, if you're trying to sift through his own personal opinion, his like actual opinion, I think his unearthed Reddit posts are probably a lot better than whatever he's writing because he wants to, in his mind, win a goddamn election. That's what I'm saying. Like, it makes no sense. He's not doing this to win an election. He's doing this because he's posting on the internet. What do you think shows the true nature of someone? Whatever the they were writing anonymously before they had any ambitions of running for office, or what their PR backed statements are. He has. What do you want him to say to your chat is not the same he needs to say to people in Maine. He has continued to talk about how he's changed. Yeah, no, I agree. But the Nazi tattoo is ridiculous. And once again, like I said, he should, like, if I was running his campaign at this point, number one, here's a couple things I would have done. First of all, I would have said, once again, over and over again, that there are some things I don't agree with from all the way back in 2013 that I stated. And, the stuff about how he was an angry jarhead, all that stuff works, right? I'm wearing my apolitical Democrat consultant, my Democrat consultant hat. One, drop out now? No. If I'm running his campaign, I'm quitting Lamau? No. You guys don't understand the amoral nature of Democrat Party consultants, okay? Calm down and listen to, I'm giving free money, free ball. Okay, first of all, he doesn't have to win any of you over. Let's just make that very clear. He's running for a purple seat in Maine, okay, in the Maine Senate. So none of you are relevant in this conversation, except for maybe like the 12 Mainers in here who are going to vote for him anyway. So shut the fuck up. That's number one. Okay, here's what I would do. One, I would come out and be like, look, I felt very disillusioned. I felt very disillusioned by my service, as millions of Americans do. And I went through this transformation. And, some of the stuff I'm just like joking around on the internet. It's embarrassing. It is what it is. But having said that, as far as my own personal politics goes, it's very obvious it's very obvious when you look at my most private moments that I never thought would be blasted on the timeline. No one would want to be judged by their private anonymous moments on the internet. He did say a lot of this stuff. But as far as, he's leading in the polls, drop out. Why does Hasan take anything in this chat seriously? I don't. Yeah, he has he has all the labor unions backing him. He has Bernie Sanders backing him. He has even liberals backing him in the Pod John universe. And of course, all the left flank is not backing him. But that is yet another moment of the irrelevance of people in this chat when it comes to electoralism. It's understandable. Okay? As far as the Nazi tattoo goes, one of the things he has to immediately do is like, look, I got this when I was an idiot. I never realized that it was like, I never realized that it was a Nazi tattoo, and that's my bad. I am instantly covering it up. That's completely unacceptable and inappropriate for anyone of any background or of any party affiliation to have a Nazi tattoo. And I don't know, like donate something to like Life After Hate or something. Okay. Yeah, here's the NRSC communications director. By the way, the Republicans have been going extra hard on Graham Platner because they also are fearful of his candidacy. They think that he is the man to beat Susan Collins. That should give you an indication. Accidentally got a Nazi tattoo. Regularly spreads anti-Semitic propaganda. Has a lot in common with openly pro-Hitler Maine Democrat. But don't call him a Nazi because he hasn't been hiding it and is actually just a racist communist. Ironically enough, before the Totenkopf tattoo, all the stuff that I learned about him personally from his Reddit posting and whatnot made me feel like he was earnest. The Nazi tattoo, on the other hand, is insane. The fact that not even the fact that he got the tattoo, that's already insane in and of itself, but the fact that he never like removed it, like he has a Totenkopf on his chest, like that's crazy. What the are we doing? Not getting your SS Totenkopf tattoo removed for your primary campaign because you might still need it for the general. That's funny. The last point of the Democrat is not real. He immediately told the guy to himself. What do you mean? Maybe I'm too charitable, but could he be keeping it as a reminder of how far he's come? No. At worst, he knew exactly what it was and thought it was cool, okay? And was at least like not overtly anti-Nazi. At best, he is a complete moron and like didn't realize what it was for as long as he did. And I think it's virtually impossible for no one to have warned him throughout the past 20 years. Like, what are we talking about? Like the most charitable interpretation here is that he is genuinely not very bright. Wait, what? Maybe he wanted a cool tattoo and his tattoo artist was a neo-Nazi. Wait, no, that is literally what happened. That is, whether he knew it was a neo-Nazi, whether he knew it was a Nazi tattoo or not, doesn't change exactly what took place. His tattoo artist was 100% a Nazi. Okay? That's not in question here. No one is questioning that, I hope. No one gives you a totenkopf tattoo if they're a tattoo artist and they're not a Nazi. That's not how that works. Okay? Hello? What the f? His political director quit? Yeah, but the political director quit before all this it is pretty funny, though, how much like Axios and all these other places are actually hammering him on the communist stuff and the Antifa super soldier stuff as opposed to the Nazi tattoo, which is crazy. Goddamn, Americans, man. Yeah, the director has something to say about the tattoo. Platner's political director, who resigned over his Reddit post, weighs in on the tattoo. He's not an idiot. He's a military history buff. Maybe he didn't know when he got it, but he got it years ago, and he should have had it covered up because he knows damn well what it means. I think, if anything, this is an op. The political director that came in and then out when she saw the Reddit post of him saying he's a commie. Okay? Excuse me, but that political director literally resigned publicly, mind you, because he said he was a commie in Reddit posts. I'm sorry. I don't give a what this political director has to say. Like, that's crazy. They didn't actually... Would you forgive him if he had tattoos, a hammer and sickle on top of the skull? Wait, what? I would love that if he had a hammer and sickle tattoo. Are you kidding me? I've run out of self-restraint. Worse than when the guys on the train to Boston were fanboying over Reds Eats. The DC consultant class is up our U.S. Senate race again, and all you need to stop snipping at each other. This is seriously the dumbest timeline. Graham has an anti-Semitic tattoo on his chest. He's not an idiot. He's a military history buff. Maybe he didn't know it when he got it, but he got it years ago, and he should have had it covered up because he knows damn well what it means. His campaign released it themselves to some podcast bros, along with a video of him shirtless and drunk at a wedding to try and get ahead of it. The vault is open for the GOP to crush any dreams we had in the general, and literally everyone I know is fighting with each other on social media. We cannot be this painfully stupid. Yeah, also, if he had a hammer and sickle tattoo, he would be in worse shape than the Nazi tattoo. Let's be real. Americans are insane. I don't care about the political director who literally resigned over the... I don't care about the political director who resigned over Reddit posts. All of the stuff that like Axios is hammering him on makes me like him more, and all the stuff that is like the Nazi tattoo is just completely unacceptable.